welcome to another RRC podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lester. It's been a busy summer, as we've been talking about on our last podcast, and we're going to continue our journey, recap journey through the past couple months here and where we've been. One of the stops that we made, as we mentioned in the last podcast, was the Crop Diagnostic Days at Lakeland College. That was a great experience there. While we were there, we had a chance to speak with the Dean of Applied Research, Francois Paradis. Francois walked us through the success of this year's event, as well as a couple other things that they have going on at Lakeland College. So tell us a little bit about the Crop Diagnostic Day, Lakeland College version.
Yeah, so the Crop Diagnostic Days is an idea that arose from a discussion I had with Jeremy Woycheshin from Alberta Grain 3 or 4 years ago at the Cereal Summit. And so we were looking for field days where we could combine kind of the research expertise, but also bringing expert from the outside to address topics of interest for the producers in separate regions. And so this Alberta Crop Diagnostic Day has evolved now. It has 3 sites across the province. So there's one field day in Lethbridge, one in Lacombe with Western Crop Innovation, and the other one is here at Lakeland College. And so we're really proud of that partnership with the commissions. We've seen a huge increase in attendance over the years. So when I first started here, we had 30 attendance, and then with that partnerships and the valuable information that the producer get out of this, we've grown to 80 to 100 people per year. So it's been a very successful event.
Amazing. And one of the things I've taken away from almost every talk I've been a part of this morning and this afternoon is like the researchers are talking about issues that they're seeing the farmers are seeing on the farms right now. We were talking about wild oats, how to deal with wild oats in one talk, and in another one we're talking about bugs. And again, it's very relatable.
Yes, one of the difference between universities and colleges and politics is, at colleges we're really focused on applied research, and so if we're really focused on problems that matters in the field for producers, and so we try to gear our field day in the same way, right? So having demonstration that people can touch, visualize what the impact of combining herbicides or applying it at the wrong rate or at the wrong time, or what the impact of certain insects will be, so that they can really learn from the speakers, but also visualize what it looks in the field, so that when they get back to their farm, they can actually go scout their field and understand what's happening. So we're really focused on that hands-on practical strategies or management practice for the producers.
Amazing. And so we talk a little bit about Lakeland itself in regards to the extension that they have going on, that you guys have going on at the college.
So I joined Lakeland College 4 years ago as the Dean of the Applied Research Department. So we have a team of 6 full-time scientists, and our team of technical staff is about 18 to 20 staff as well. Half of our team is dedicated to livestock research, the other half crop research. On the crop side, we touch everything from pulses, cereal to canola, and we look at agronomy, we look at pest management, disease management. We also work a little bit in precision agriculture as well. So we've done some work with precision spraying to help address some of the weed resistance that we see. And so that's so again, it's applied research, and in addition to that, we have a responsibility as college for knowledge. I like to call it knowledge sharing, because we feel like we have certain things to share, but producers have also a lot of experience. And so creating these events, participating in field days across the province and conferences is an important part of what we do as a college.
Amazing. Anything you'd like to add that I haven't asked you?
I'd say we've been successful at building an applied research program at the college. We've had great support from the leadership at the college, great support from boards and commissions, both on the livestock and crop sides. And so we definitely value the partnership, value the collaborations that we have with other post-secondary across the province. And Alberta is a great place to do work in agriculture, and so we're really happy to continue help solve problems that producers, both on the livestock and crop side, encounters every day on their farm.
That, again, is Dean of Applied Research at Lakeland College, Francois Paradis. Francois, thank you so much for taking time for the interview and for hosting that Crop Diagnostic Day. It was fantastic to connect with the researchers, farmers, and different ag stakeholders at that event. As part of our tours, as we were talking about in our last podcast as well, was our stop at Ag in Motion. While we were at Ag in Motion, we helped BASF celebrate 30 years of InVigor canola. And who better to chat with this about 30 years is Blaine Woycheshin, who is the InVigor marketing manager for BASF. Now, Blaine has been on the InVigor file for 30 years. I mean, almost the entire length of this that InVigor has been around. And so it was great to chat with him about what he's seen during those 30 years, what they have coming down the pipe for 2027 in terms of InVigor canola, as well as a couple other things.
About the new hybrids that you have coming out for 2027?
Well, we're very excited. We've got 3 new innovation hybrids for 2027, starting with the InVigor L346 PC. This one in our yield trials last year gave InVigor L345, one of our highest yielding, a good run for its money. It actually beat it in our yield trials.
Wow.
So we're very optimistic about this one. And this one was very close, plus or minus, with InVigor L340, which InVigor L340 is a standard hybrid across Western Canada. Currently, InVigor L340 is growing on 25% of the total canola acreage in Western Canada. That's a huge number. Somebody pointed that one out to me, and I'm like, wow, it's a legend. So that could give a good run for the money with InVigor L340 PC, this new one. So we're excited about that one, and then maybe we'll just move along to the next one. InVigor LR347 PC. This is our dual trait hybrid where you can use either Liberty herbicide or Roundup. Give the farmer a choice. It's a 4 for maturity. All these 3 actually you're going to see are all 4s for maturity. And that's exciting because the grower wants more early maturing, beat the heat, get the combines rolling earlier, and not sacrifice yield. So this has been pretty strong. We're excited about it. In its yield trials, it took on one of the other competitors in the marketplace. It's a dual trait, and it beat it. So we're excited about that. I think we got a great offering for many farmers across Western Canada. And then last but not least, we'll move over here to this next hybrid here, guys. And this one's probably got a great fit for Alberta. It's next gen, second gen. It's club root, next gen, second gen club root, InVigor L342 PC. InVigor L342 PC is different than our InVigor L341 PC and our InVigor L343 PC. They're bred from a different genetic source, so we're very excited for growers because if you're battling club root, we have 3 strong second gen hybrids for the predominantly the Alberta area, but this is another tool in helping manage it because it's different. We're still learning more about this hybrid, but I think it's got a lot of yield potential. So all 3 we're very excited. They will be, could be some pretty good acres out there next year. These hybrids availability from all your local retailers in Western Canada.
How has the breeding for canola changed over the years? You've been selling it for 30 years. So how has it changed?
Well, I think we've got a lot more things that people looking at. Obviously, highlight of my career in 2014 was launching Pod Shatter canola, our patented gene. Very excited about that trait. It's changed the way farmers grow their canola. They're straight cutting, hashtag sell the swather. We had a lot of fun with that years ago, but I think that's one thing. Managing club root, growers in certain geographies all need a base level of club root protection. So first gen, predominantly everywhere else, is pretty exciting. And I think, disease management. Behind the scenes, we differ from maybe the industry on managing minor and major genes. A lot of our major genes in our canola do all the heavy lifting for managing blacklegs. So that's very important. You're also got to keep cutting edge on verticillium, root rot, and also make sure that you've got products available for sclerotinia. So disease-wise, there's lots of that. But standability, maturity, yield, growers all are demanding more and more. So easy getting out of the ground. And I think last but not least, my nemesis is managing flea beetles.
Wow.
Seed treatments have changed since, we first launched them and everything else. And, managing flea beetles is probably one of the farmers' toughest challenge is getting that canola out of the ground. So once you've got the crop established, as long as you've got water in some geographies, maybe not this year, but overall, flea beetle management is pretty hard too. So, we've come a long way. We're excited about that.
1997, do you remember the first person you sold InVigor to?
Well, I remember my first failure. We were going to have InVigor 2153 out by Bicycle, and we had a DST trial out there, and this was looking amazing. I can't remember the exact date. I probably remember it for the first 15 years. It's like August 10th or whatever, the 15th, we got a hailstorm, cleaned her out. So we went back. We had to work pretty hard. The first InVigors didn't work that well in Alberta. They worked amazing in Manitoba, Saskatchewan. Alberta had the cool mountain air. Growers didn't know how to use Liberty. So it was just a train wreck. We rescheduled. We changed the rate of Liberty growers used, repriced it, and nothing but success. But 2153, I can remember the farmer. I'm not going to mention his name, but yes, just north of by Acme. So yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of great growers out there.
How has canola acres changed geographically? Because I know they seem to be going further south.
Yeah,
they kind of they're further north to beat the heat.
Well, you know what? Canolas are growing. I mean, canola acres have changed over the years where, you had a lot of later maturing growers in the south would grow that. And, I think with some of the weather changes we've got, the hot summers coming or the extremely hot summers, our early maturing hybrids, originally we thought, they'll fit nicer in the northern geographies of north of Yorkton, Kamsack, that country, further up, PA, and then into Peace. But it kind of flipped it on its head because growers now further south are growing the InVigor L340 PCs, the InVigor L330 PCs, and the InVigor L333 PCs earlier to beat the heat and get the combines rolling earlier. So pretty excited about that. But trying to find a niche for every customer, because today, I don't know, I probably talked to 100 guys already and gals, and just a total different needs for each customer. So, and I think this lineup is pretty amazing, and I'm glad to be part of it for 30 years.
Do you have another 30 years in you?
Well, I think I can't say where I'm going to end up, but it's been 40 years for me in the industry, so I don't know. Old dogs never die. InVigor's been my life. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun, but we're not done. We've got a lot to offer growers, and I think we have a lot of things we can bring out in the future.
What are some of those other things that farmers want to see that you're working on?
Well, drought tolerance, I think, would be first and foremost. We got areas you can't win. Some areas you're hot, and some areas you're dry, and hot, dry, and rain. That doesn't always happen, but I think drought tolerance is important. Trying to find a great solution for flea beetles, cutworms. I think affordability. I think the pod drop is an area we're looking quite heavily into, trying to investigate into that to make sure that we give world class. We've got world class pod shatter. We now want to make sure that growers know pod drop, they can count on InVigor with that too. So just trying to keep ahead. Disease. Managing all the major diseases are some things. And I think our big investment into Saskatoon, we made a multi-million-dollar investment to our greenhouses to more predictive modeling. I think that'll give us a faster to market and greater turnaround and predictability. So I think that's pretty exciting to get that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
That's Blaine Woycheshin, who is the InVigor marketing manager for BASF. Thanks again, Blaine, for taking time to take us down memory lane. Going back a little earlier in the summer, we were at the Calgary Stampede, and we had a chance to sit down with Vaughn Holder. Vaughn is the research director for beef at Alltech. He flew in from Kentucky to give a speech at one of the events at the Calgary Stampede, and we had a chance to sit down and talk with him just ahead of his speech and what he was talking about, as well as some of the other issues that are going on in the cattle industry right now. So tell us a little bit about why you're up at the Calgary Stampede today.
Yes, I'm giving a presentation here this morning at the International Livestock Congress on basically looking at the science behind beef and the global story that gets told about beef. There's a lot about just talking about some of the unintended consequences of some of the things that we are proposing, the changes we're proposing making to our food systems, and what might actually happen if we go through with some of those changes. So just exploring the science a little bit.
Right, and so I guess in terms of the things that really jump off the page for you, that really, I guess, first off, have you concerned? And we'll start with that, and then we'll head into things that you like, sir.
Yeah. So the number one thing for me is always food security, right? We need to never forget that we're here as food producers. We make food for a living. Without that, the world is in a lot of trouble. So I really do focus on food security and food production as a core to this concept, and what might happen to some of those things if we were to try and restructure those systems. We can't compromise food production, is what I'm getting at here.
Are there some changes or some things that you're seeing that are positive along that lines?
Yeah, it's actually really good. Some of this pressure that's come on the industry, particularly in the methane space, the greenhouse gases space, has kind of taught us to look at the system a little bit more broadly. We've had to try to understand these systems more from an ecosystem context rather than just what goes in and out in the front end of a cow and out the back end of a cow. And that's actually really been useful and beneficial from a biotech development standpoint, just rather looking at the ecosystem versus the animal itself.
Excellent. And talking a little bit about telling the story, sort of thing, a world without cows, what have you seen from your end in regards to where you concentrate within Alltech and I guess the beef community and that what telling the story, what kind of impact have you seen that have for what you do?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. The documentary is really made not for the industry themselves, but as a kind of an exposure to the rest of the world. But there's kind of probably two things that I've seen, and one of them is just telling people that what they're doing is good. Producers don't ever hear that anymore, and just telling people that, listen, you are important and what you're doing is actually contributing positively to the world is just something that a lot of producers need to hear and should hear. I think the other side of that coin is showing the documentary to people who don't have any exposure to agriculture whatsoever, right? And just them understanding that it is a much bigger picture than just the news headlines that they see on BBC or CNN. So that kind of realization to a person who's not in agriculture is really nice to see that documentary can do that, because that's what it was designed to do at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I guess going back really quickly as my brain starts to think about questions locally, in Canada here, as you're probably aware, in regards to the increase in traceability rules, when you look to that from a company, from I guess Alltech's standpoint, your thoughts on that, or have you looked at that very closely?
Yeah, that's always going to be something that we had to do, right? I think you guys are actually probably quite far ahead of us in the US in terms of having traceability on all of your animal systems. But this is something that we've needed just in terms of just for our own benefit. To be able to track animals and products through a system like that is really important for us to understand when we're trying to make changes to a system, whether those changes are actually beneficial. You actually have to get it all the way through. So I know it's an enforced change and it causes some headaches in some places, but I think in general that's going to be a really positive thing for the industry over here.
Excellent. Any other initiatives that Alltech has going right now, sort of thing that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, we've always got a lot going on. I think we're still always in the world of biologicals with our biotech, all of the stuff that we develop for cattle and other species. But always just hand on the pulse, focusing on efficiency, right? I think the whole methane debate taught us a lot, that just losing sight of efficiency just causes the whole thing to collapse in on itself. So anything that focuses on the efficiency of production, reduced resource use, increased output is always core to all of our programs.
Vaughn, anything you wanted to add that I haven't asked you?
No, I think it's good. Really happy to be here. Really happy for the invite from International Livestock Congress, and hopefully we have a good presentation today.
Thanks for taking time to talk to us, Vaughn. It was great to catch up with him. We've talked to him a couple of times in the past at various events around the world, and so it was great to catch up with Vaughn at that event. Thanks for tuning in this week. It's been, again, another great catch-up in regards to what we've been doing this summer. We're going to continue our journey down, recapping our great 2026 summer next week. We look forward to catching up with you then. Until then, I'm Craig Lester for Rural Roots Canada.